Have you ever noticed how some individuals seem to get what they want without breaking a sweat? This audiobook unveils the secrets behind effectively influencing anyone at any moment. You'll discover how to manage tricky conversations, win debates, and motivate others with confidence. Learn these skills, and you'll see a remarkable shift in both your personal and professional life. If you choose to ignore this opportunity, you might find yourself struggling to reach your aspirations, while others thrive effortlessly around you. Are you ready to tap into your persuasive abilities? Chapter 1: The Art of Persuasion. In the delicate ballet of human interaction, the power to persuade is the ultimate advantage. It sets apart those who simply drift through life from those who actively shape their reality. Welcome to Persuasion Mastery: How to Get Anything You Want from Anyone. You've embarked on an enlightening journey that will revolutionize how you communicate, negotiate, and sway others. By the end of this book, you will possess the confidence and skills to tackle any social scenario with grace and tact. It's important to recognize that persuasion isn't some shady trick reserved for con artists. It's a vital human ability, woven into the very fabric of our social interactions, just like language. Each day, we engage in numerous acts of persuasion, often without even realizing it, whether it's persuading a friend to join you at a new diner or presenting a cutting-edge idea to potential investors. The power to influence is deeply rooted in our daily personal and professional lives. Here's the key insight that many overlook. Persuasion is a skill anyone can learn, refine, and master. It's not a built-in gift granted to a select few. Instead, it encompasses a collection of techniques and strategies accessible to all with the right guidance and practice. This book serves as your pathway to becoming a skilled persuader capable of achieving your dreams and aspirations. As we venture on this journey together, it's vital to grasp that persuasion blends art with science. It demands both creativity and instinct, while also being anchored in psychological principles. In this audiobook, we're going to dive into the fascinating world of social influence, which is essential for mastering the art of persuasion. At its heart, the theory of social influence identifies 5 key forms: coercive, legitimate, expert, referent, and reward-based. Each type serves a specific purpose in your persuasive arsenal, and knowing when to utilize each one is critical for your success. Coercive influence hinges on the threat of negative repercussions. While this can deliver quick results, it often leads to resentment and pushback. In contrast, legitimate influence derives from an acknowledged authority or position. Expert influence relies on specialized knowledge or skills, while referent influence is based on personal connections and the likability factor. Finally, reward-based influence provides positive incentives in exchange for compliance. Understanding these various forms of influence is only the starting point. As you progress through this audiobook, you'll learn how to effectively weave these techniques together, allowing you to tailor your approach for diverse situations and audiences. Before we delve into the nitty-gritty, let's discuss what you can expect to gain by the end of this journey. After your first listen, you'll walk away with a solid grasp of persuasive strategies. You'll recognize the different forms of influence that occur in your everyday interactions and start applying them consciously in your communication. More significantly, you'll cultivate a mindset focused on strategic influence, a crucial insight that will enhance your interactions. Every conversation, whether it's a casual chat with a coworker or a high-stakes business negotiation, will be seen as an opportunity to hone your persuasive abilities. As you continue to practice the principles outlined here, the long-term advantages will be life-changing. Over time, you'll achieve a level of mastery in persuasive communication that can truly set you apart in both your personal and professional life. Imagine entering any room and instantly capturing attention and respect. Picture yourself not only resolving conflicts, but also motivating teams to take action. All of this is within your reach, thanks to the techniques you'll discover in this audiobook. Navigating conversations to lead them where you want while ensuring others feel acknowledged and appreciated is a skill you'll cultivate as you refine your persuasive abilities. So what's the process behind this, and what key steps should you focus on? First and foremost, it's essential to grasp the various types of influence we've covered earlier. This knowledge serves as the cornerstone for all your persuasion techniques. You'll want to train yourself to identify which form of influence suits each scenario best and gracefully switch between them as the situation demands. Equally vital is nurturing the confidence and adaptability to use these methods in real-life interactions. Persuasion goes beyond just having the right phrases ready. It involves being present and agile enough to navigate the ever-evolving landscape of human conversation. Throughout this book, we'll introduce exercises and strategies designed to help you cultivate these critical traits. You might wonder why we've laid out the book in this way, starting with the basics before progressing to more intricate strategies. The rationale is tied directly to the essence of persuasion. To become an effective persuader, it's imperative to construct a solid foundation of knowledge and skills. Relying solely on a few engaging tricks or snappy lines won't suffice. You need to comprehend the principles that underpin effective persuasion. By establishing a robust foundation from the start, you'll be better equipped to tackle the complex tactics discussed in later chapters. Each idea we present builds on the previous one, creating a cohesive roadmap for mastering persuasion. Additionally, focusing initially on mindset and essential principles enables you to begin implementing what you learn immediately. You won't have to wait until you've absorbed the entire book to start experiencing positive outcomes. Right from the outset, you'll gain insights and techniques you can apply in your everyday interactions. As we proceed, we'll dive into more specific strategies and techniques in the next chapter. We'll set the stage by discussing how to create an environment conducive to persuasion. You'll discover the influence of priming and how subtle environmental signals can dramatically impact how receptive people are to your message. But before we embark on that, take a moment to prepare yourself. Take a moment to think about what you've absorbed up to this point. You've already made significant progress on your journey to becoming an expert at persuasion by acknowledging that this is a skill you can nurture and enhance. You've begun to understand the various forms of influence and have started to change your perspective to focus on strategic communication. As you move forward in this book, keep in mind that each chapter is designed to build on the previous one, uncovering deeper insights into the persuasion process. Ahead of you lies a wealth of impactful ideas and transformative strategies. Are you prepared to harness your full persuasive power and learn how to effectively get what you desire from others? The road to mastering persuasion is set before you, filled with hidden insights just waiting to be discovered. In the next chapter, we'll dive into the nuances of creating the ideal environment for persuasion. Prepare to learn how your surroundings can serve as one of your strongest allies in the world of influence. But before we proceed, don't forget to subscribe to Grow to the Top and activate notifications so you won't miss any tips that will boost your personal development. If you find this helpful, give it a thumbs up and share it with friends. Your support is essential for our channel's growth. Thank you. Chapter 2: Setting the Stage. Have you ever noticed why some conversations seem to flow smoothly while others feel like a struggle? Why do certain settings enhance your ability to persuade while others leave you feeling stuck? The key lies in an often overlooked yet influential aspect of persuasion: the art of setting the stage. In this chapter, you'll learn that effective persuasion starts well before you say a word. It begins with the environment you foster, the vibe you create, and the subtle signals you use. This hidden aspect of influence can significantly impact your persuasive capabilities. Remember a time when you felt completely at ease and open during a conversation. What made that experience so enjoyable? Was it the cozy seating, the calming background music, or the inviting lighting? Although these details may appear trivial at first glance, they play a vital role in shaping our mood and willingness to consider new ideas. This is where the idea of environmental control comes into play. By purposefully designing your surroundings, you can greatly enhance your persuasive effectiveness. The environment in which you present your ideas plays a crucial role in determining your potential for success. Think of it like arranging a chessboard meticulously before starting the game, positioning every piece to enhance your strategic advantage. So why does this matter so much when it comes to persuading others? The answer lies in how our brains handle information and make decisions. We often believe we're rational thinkers, but in reality, much of our decision-making is influenced by subconscious cues that we pick up from our surroundings. These cues can impact our mood, openness, and choices. By creating a welcoming and supportive atmosphere, you're setting the stage for your audience to be more receptive to your ideas. This space allows them to feel at ease, relaxed, and open-minded. It's not about manipulating anyone. It's about fostering a meaningful exchange and understanding. Furthermore, a thoughtfully designed environment can boost how receptive people are to persuasion. When individuals feel comfortable in their surroundings, they're more likely to let their defenses down and engage in candid conversations. This openness makes them less skeptical and more willing to entertain fresh perspectives. Let's dive deeper into the intriguing realm of how our surroundings influence us. Essentially, this idea revolves around the way our environment affects our thoughts, emotions, and actions. Everything in our space, from wall colors to furniture layout, sends subtle messages to our subconscious. Crafting the right setting is both an artistic and scientific endeavor, requiring careful consideration of every environmental detail and its potential impact on your audience. Factors like room temperature, background noise, and even fragrance can sway how open someone is to what you want to communicate. But environmental influence extends beyond just physical elements. It also encompasses the psychological principle of priming, where exposure to one stimulus affects the response to another. In terms of persuasion, priming involves subtly introducing your audience to specific cues or ideas that make them more amenable to your message. For instance, if you're trying to convince someone to invest in a new tech startup, consider setting the scene by having them read relevant news articles before your meeting. When it comes to engaging tech entrepreneurs or sharing data about the booming tech industry, it's fascinating how subtle hints can set the stage for your proposal. However, the atmosphere isn't just shaped by what people can see or hear, it's equally influenced by emotions. This is where the art of nonverbal persuasion enters the picture. Your body language, the way you position yourself in space, and even your outfit all broadcast strong signals that can either support or weaken what you're saying. Think about how your posture and positioning affect your conversation. Standing too close might make someone uneasy, while giving them space can foster trust and respect. Every gesture, stance, and facial expression contributes to the message being shared without words. When you present yourself confidently with open body language, you boost your credibility, making others more inclined to listen and agree with you. Conversely, if your body language is tense or closed off, it can detract from even the most persuasive arguments you're making. Your clothing choices matter too. They're not just about wearing something fashionable or costly. It's essential to select outfits that fit the occasion and support the story you want to tell. Dressing appropriately helps you project yourself as capable, reliable, and worthy of attention. You may be curious about how to put these insights into action. The trick is to start small and test different approaches. Try altering the environment for your discussions and see how it affects the results. Notice how people react when you change little things about your surroundings or your nonverbal signals. Before a crucial conversation, think about what mindset you'd like the other person to have and consider what subtle hints you can offer to cultivate that mindset. Of course, like any powerful strategy, there are potential traps to watch for with environmental influence and nonverbal persuasion. A common pitfall is assuming that what works well in one situation will seamlessly translate to another. To sidestep this, stay alert and flexible, adapting your approach to fit the context you're in. Pay attention to how others are responding and be ready to modify your strategy if needed. One common pitfall is depending too heavily on nonverbal signals while neglecting verbal communication. Although body language and situational elements play a role, they should enhance rather than replace clear and effective speech. Aim for a harmony between nonverbal and verbal techniques in your persuasion efforts. As we wrap up this chapter, take a moment to think about the environments you engage with daily. How are they shaping your thoughts and actions? More importantly, how can you leverage the influence of these surroundings in your persuasive attempts? Remember, mastering the environment is just the beginning. In the next chapter, we'll explore the intriguing realm of psychological triggers, those subtle buttons in our minds that, when activated, can significantly amp up your persuasive capabilities. Just a heads up, once you discover these triggers, your perspective on human behavior will transform forever. Chapter 3: Mind Games. Are you ready to uncover the depths of the human psyche? Have you ever considered why some concepts catch on and spread rapidly while others fail to make an impression? Or why certain advertisements grab the attention of millions while others vanish without a trace? The secret lies not in the outside world, but in the complex workings of our minds. Welcome to the world of psychological triggers, the unseen tools that can sway our behaviors and decision-making. As we dive into this chapter, get ready to peel back the layers of human thought. We're entering a sphere where emotion often supersedes logic and where ingrained thought patterns influence our choices more than we may realize. This is where expert persuaders operate, navigating the chessboard of influence with precision. But why are these psychological triggers essential for effective persuasion? The key is in the nature of how we make decisions. Our brains constantly process vast amounts of information, far more than we can handle consciously. To manage this deluge, we've developed mental shortcuts, or heuristics, enabling us to make swift decisions without drowning in analysis. While these shortcuts can be beneficial, they also lead to cognitive biases, systematic thinking errors that impact our judgments and choices. Mastering the art of persuasion is akin to having a detailed guide to human psychology. This understanding enables you to skillfully navigate the intricate landscape of how people think, leading them toward actions you want in ways that feel organic and effortless. By aligning your persuasive strategies with the natural decision-making tendencies of individuals, you can significantly boost your effectiveness. Instead of swimming against the tide of human behavior, you can tap into its currents, steering them toward your desired results. Let's explore some of the most impactful psychological triggers available to you. At the forefront is the principle of reciprocity. This fundamental social concept is rooted in our innate expectation to reciprocate when someone does something nice for us. For instance, if a coworker surprises you with a small gift, like a coffee, you'll likely feel a strong compulsion to return the kindness. In persuasion, you can leverage this principle by offering something useful up front, be it advice, assistance, or a simple favor. This creates a gentle psychological nudge, encouraging the other person to reciprocate. But reciprocity is merely the starting point. Another significant trigger is scarcity. People generally place a higher value on things that are limited or hard to come by. It's why limited time-only sales and while supplies last promotions capture attention. When we perceive something to be scarce, our desire for it often intensifies, pushing us to act swiftly. Scarcity isn't just about physical items. It extends to opportunities, information, or even the attention we receive. By positioning your ideas or offers as exclusive or urgent, you can ignite a sense of immediacy that encourages action. As we dig deeper into psychological triggers, it's essential to remember these elements are not mere manipulation techniques. They are fundamental parts of human nature that affect how we communicate and make decisions daily. The real challenge is to utilize them ethically and transparently, enriching interactions without exploiting anyone's weaknesses. Now let's shift our focus to cognitive biases. These are consistent patterns in how we stray from logical reasoning in our judgment. A prominent example is confirmation bias, which explains our tendency to seek out, interpret, and remember information that aligns with our pre-existing beliefs. When it comes to persuasion, confirmation bias plays a significant role. It's our natural tendency to favor information that aligns with what we already believe. While this can create obstacles in shifting someone's entrenched views, it also opens up opportunities. If you can present your ideas in a way that resonates with your audience's existing beliefs, they are far more likely to embrace and internalize those messages. Another important factor is authority bias, which is our inclination to give more weight to opinions from authority figures. This means endorsements from experts or well-regarded individuals can be incredibly impactful. By building your credibility or linking your message with trusted authorities, you can significantly boost your persuasive effectiveness. Recognizing these biases is not just about swaying others. It's also about identifying the blind spots in our own thinking. By understanding how these biases shape our choices, we can improve our awareness, think more logically, and be more persuasive ourselves. So, how can you apply these insights? Start by observing the psychological dynamics in your daily conversations. Pay attention to how people react to offers that involve reciprocity, or how the idea of limited availability influences their choices. Look for examples where confirmation bias or authority bias is at play. Once you've identified these patterns, begin practicing incorporating these insights into your own persuasive strategies. For instance, consider framing your suggestions around the risks of inaction, emphasizing what someone might miss out on rather than focusing solely on potential benefits. Alternatively, think about how to establish your own authority before delivering your main point. As you experiment, keep in mind that the aim is not to manipulate, but to communicate more effectively. These psychological tendencies already shape behavior. By understanding them, you can navigate these dynamics with greater skill. However, be mindful of the pitfalls that come with using these tools. One common mistake is misusing these triggers due to a lack of understanding of your audience. What inspires one person may not resonate with someone else. The key is to be observant, listen actively, and tailor your approach to fit the particular person or group you are addressing. Another danger lies in excessive reliance on these strategies, which can lead to burnout or frustration if they don't yield results. Be cautious about relying too much on psychological techniques. While they can have a strong impact, they should enhance, not overshadow, meaningful arguments and real value. It's essential to uphold ethical standards and be transparent in your persuasive efforts. Your intention should be to help others make choices that genuinely benefit them, rather than deceive them into regrettable actions. As we wrap up this chapter, take a moment to consider the influence of cognitive biases and psychological triggers on your own choices and behaviors. How can you leverage this understanding to enhance your communication skills and persuasion techniques? Keep in mind that what we've covered here is merely the starting point. In the next chapter, we'll dive into the intricacies of crafting persuasive language, exploring how specific words and phrases can elevate your ideas into compelling offers. But be warned, once you grasp the potency of language, your perception of words may forever change. Chapter 4. Linguistic Persuasion. Are you prepared to explore the secrets of persuasive language? Have you ever realized how a single word can alter the essence of a sentence? Or how the same message, when expressed differently, can provoke entirely different emotional responses? Welcome to the intriguing world of linguistic persuasion, where words serve not just as tools for communication, but as powerful means of influence. As we journey through this chapter, get ready to uncover the remarkable strength hidden within our everyday vocabulary. We're entering a space where language does more than simply describe reality. It actively shapes it. This is where masterful communicators operate, engaging in a contest of ideas that can be decided well before the audience is aware of it. But what makes language so vital in persuasion? The answer lies in how humans perceive and make decisions. We don't directly experience reality. Rather, our understanding is filtered through language. The words we choose do more than narrate our experiences. They mold our perceptions and interpretations of those experiences. This leads us to the concept of framing, which is the technique of presenting information in a particular way to affect how people see and respond to it. By thoughtfully selecting your words and organizing your message, you can subtly yet significantly steer people's thoughts and choices. Take a moment to think about how your response might change to these two statements. This investment has a 70% chance of succeeding, versus this investment has a 30% chance of failing. While both phrases communicate the same statistical information, they evoke very different reactions due to a psychological phenomenon known as framing. Understanding how to frame information effectively can greatly improve how clearly and powerfully you express your ideas. By honing this skill, your message won't just be delivered, It will resonate emotionally with your listeners, making it memorable. Let's dive deeper into what framing entails. A key factor is the distinction between positive and negative framing. Positive framing highlights the benefits or rewards of a choice, while negative framing focuses on the possible losses or downsides. The effectiveness of these approaches often hinges on the specific context and the audience's preferences. Some individuals are driven by potential gains, while others are more attuned to avoiding losses. By knowing your audience's inclinations and adjusting your framing accordingly, you significantly enhance your ability to persuade. Furthermore, framing isn't limited to how you present your own ideas. It also applies to how you handle objections or counter-arguments. This is where the technique of reframing becomes invaluable. Reframing involves taking an objection and presenting it from a fresh angle that aligns with your objectives. For instance, if someone is hesitant about a proposal because it appears too risky, you might shift that perception by portraying the risk as a chance for growth or innovation. By changing the way the situation is viewed, you can convert obstacles into opportunities for agreement. As we go further into the world of effective communication, we discover even more potent tools, such as persuasive language patterns. These are strategic ways of structuring your words that can sidestep critical analysis and engage the subconscious mind directly. One intriguing example is the use of embedded commands, suggestions woven into larger statements in a way that the conscious brain may overlook, but the subconscious will notice. Rather than simply stating, "You should think about this offer," you could say, "As you reflect on this offer, you might start feeling excited about the possibilities." Here, the embedded command to get excited about the possibilities is delivered subtly yet effectively. One effective technique for influencing others without causing opposition is the use of presuppositions and leading questions. Presuppositions involve incorporating assumptions within your statements or inquiries, allowing you to guide someone toward accepting certain ideas without overtly expressing them. For instance, when you ask, "How soon do you want to see results?" you're implying that results are desired, and the real topic is simply the timing. Similarly, leading questions steer individuals toward particular conclusions based on their wording. You may be curious about how to implement these strategies. The secret, like with any skill, lies in regular practice and keen observation. Begin by intentionally crafting your messages in various ways and noting how people respond. Keep an eye on the language techniques that adept communicators use in different fields, whether it's in media, business, or politics, and try to recognize their framing methods. You can also experiment with persuasive language in everyday chats. Try weaving in embedded commands or presuppositions and observe how others react. With time and practice, these strategies will feel more natural and instinctive as you explore these effective language tools. However, it's essential to be mindful of some common pitfalls. One frequent challenge is miscommunication. In our quest to frame things persuasively, we might unintentionally cause confusion. Staying attuned to how your audience is responding will help you adjust your message if it doesn't resonate as intended. Another risk is complicating your language in efforts to sound sophisticated. It's easy to slip into using overly elaborate expressions that obscure your message. Always aim for clarity and impact, as sometimes the strongest messages are the simplest. Focus on key ideas and express them in straightforward, powerful language. As we wrap up this chapter, take a moment to consider the significance of language. Think about how you might use framing to convey your ideas more effectively, and how you can infuse your communication with persuasive language patterns. Remember, mastering language is a lifelong endeavor, and what we've discussed is only the starting point. In the next chapter, we will explore an aspect of persuasion that transcends mere words, where emotions and instincts come into play. Are you ready to dive into the world of emotional influence? Get set to uncover how the heart can often persuade more effectively than the intellect. Chapter 5: Emotional Leverage. Have you ever questioned why some messages hit home while others, no matter how logical, just don't connect? Why do certain speakers manage to hold our attention, their words seeming to bypass our reasoning and go straight to our emotions? Welcome to the fascinating domain of emotional leverage, where real persuasion thrives not on facts and data, but on the subtle undercurrents of human emotion. As we journey through this chapter, we'll explore a different kind of influence, one that transcends mere words and logic. We're entering the realm of emotions, those powerful, often hidden forces that shape how we see the world, guide our choices, and ultimately drive what we do. This is where master persuaders operate, in a space where true and lasting change happens. So, why are emotions so vital for effective persuasion? The answer lies in how we, as humans, make decisions. We tend to view ourselves as rational beings, carefully weighing options before arriving at conclusions. However, the reality is much more intricate. Our emotions frequently act as the hidden motivators behind our choices, with our rational thoughts stepping in only to justify decisions that are rooted in feelings. This isn't a shortcoming, it's simply part of our design. Emotions are a survival mechanism wired into us over millennia, helping us navigate complex social dynamics and ensure our survival. By aligning your persuasive strategies with these emotional influences, you can access a reservoir of power that logic alone can't match. When you engage someone's emotions, you're not just sharing facts, you're forging connections, building rapport, and laying the foundation for true persuasion. But how can we effectively harness this emotional strength? The answer lies in enhancing your emotional intelligence, your ability to recognize, understand, and manage your feelings as well as those of others. This concept, made popular by psychologist Daniel Goleman, is key to mastering emotional leverage. At the core of emotional intelligence is empathy, the skill that lets you grasp and resonate with the emotions of others. Empathy helps you align with their emotional state, creating a deeper bond that paves the way for influence. Understanding the unexpressed needs and feelings of your audience is crucial for successful emotional persuasion. Picture this. You want someone to back a fresh initiative. You could throw a heap of facts and logic at them, or you could pause and gauge their emotional vibe. Are they brimming with enthusiasm for new opportunities, or are they filled with dread over possible changes? By tuning into these emotions, you can customize your pitch to align with their feelings, making your approach far more relatable. This brings us to another vital aspect of emotional persuasion: mirroring and emotional contagion. Have you ever noticed how your emotions can change in response to those around you? That's emotional contagion in action. As someone looking to persuade, you can harness this by being aware of and managing your emotional state. If you want to inspire excitement or calmness, project those emotions yourself. This approach can subtly sway how your audience feels, paving the way for your persuasive efforts. Next, let's explore how we can tap into specific emotional states to strengthen our persuasion strategies. One effective method is to appeal to core emotions, which are deeply embedded in human nature. These include fear, joy, anger, sadness, and surprise. Each of these can serve as a strong motivator when employed correctly. For example, fear can drive individuals to act in order to prevent a negative outcome, while joy can encourage them to seize new opportunities. The trick lies in skillfully identifying which emotions align with your persuasive goals and eliciting them in a responsible manner. One of the best tools for stirring emotions is storytelling. Our brains are wired to react to narratives. They resonate on an emotional level far beyond what numbers and statistics can achieve. By weaving engaging stories that support your message, you can forge a deeper emotional bond with your audience, significantly enhancing your persuasive power. So, how do you implement these ideas? Just like any other skill, it takes practice and keen observation. Start by sharpening your ability to recognize emotional signals during conversations. Pay close attention not only to the content of what people say, but also to how they say it. Their tone of voice, body language, and choice of words can all reveal insights into their emotional state. You can enhance your everyday conversations by using storytelling to tap into emotions. Try sharing brief anecdotes or employing metaphors to make your points more vivid. Pay attention to how your audience reacts. Do they lean in closer, indicating interest? Do their facial expressions change? These reactions signal that you're effectively connecting with their feelings. As you explore this emotional approach, be mindful of some common challenges. One frequent pitfall is misreading emotional cues. It's all too easy to project your own feelings onto someone else or misinterpret their subtle responses. To avoid this, practice active listening and keen observation. If you find yourself uncertain about someone's feelings, don't hesitate to ask questions for clarification. Another potential issue is putting too much emphasis on emotions while neglecting logical reasoning. Though emotions can be incredibly powerful, they shouldn't be your only persuasive tool. The most compelling arguments strike a harmonious balance between emotional appeal and logical reasoning, honoring both the heart and the mind of your audience. As we wrap up this chapter, take a moment to consider the role of emotions in your persuasive efforts. How might you harness emotional intelligence to strengthen your influence? How can you weave storytelling and emotional appeals into your communications? Remember, mastering emotional persuasion is a continuous journey of growth and practice, and what we've discussed is just the tip of the iceberg. In the following chapter, we'll shift gears to explore an aspect of persuasion that may seem contrary to what we've just covered, the skill of winning arguments through logic and reason. But as you will soon learn, a true persuasion expert knows how to artfully fuse both emotion and logic into an unstoppable force of influence. Are you ready to elevate your persuasive skills? Chapter 6. Winning Argument. Have you ever found yourself caught up in a fierce debate, your heart pounding and your mind racing for the right comeback? Or maybe you've watched a skilled speaker effortlessly dismantle opposing viewpoints, leaving everyone impressed. Welcome to the world of argumentation, where ideas collide and beliefs are challenged. As we dive into this chapter, prepare to discover how to turn discussions and disputes into powerful chances for persuasion. We're about to explore an influential dimension that goes far beyond simple disagreements. Confrontation is where logic meets emotion and reason blends with persuasion, forming a compelling force for influence. So, why is it essential to hone your argumentation skills? It all boils down to how we connect and make decisions as humans. Disagreements and debates, rather than being hurdles, actually present valuable chances for persuasion. When navigated wisely, these moments can spark significant changes in opinions and attitudes. Consider this. When someone challenges your viewpoint, they are actively involved in the discussion. This engagement, where both mental and emotional energies are at play, opens the door for you to sway their perspective. By understanding the nuances of argumentation, you can turn these conflicting moments into platforms to highlight your ideas, showcase your reliability, and gently steer others toward your perspective. Moreover, the knack for formulating solid arguments fosters trust. When you clearly express your standpoint backed by logical reasoning and solid evidence, you exhibit a thoughtful and intelligent demeanor that others respect. This respect often translates into a greater willingness to consider and accept your ideas. So, how do we tap into this persuasive power? The first step is to delve into the principles of argumentation theory. This discipline, rooted in the wisdom of ancient Greek philosophers, offers guidelines for crafting and deconstructing arguments. Essentially, it teaches us how to blend logic, reason, and rhetorical techniques to make strong cases for our beliefs. A crucial element of argumentation theory is logical persuasion, which focuses on establishing arguments with a clear and rational flow. It's about constructing a reasoning pathway that seamlessly leads to your conclusion, making it hard for others to dispute your logic. To create a logical argument, start with a strong premise, the foundational statement of your case. Next, present compelling evidence to support this premise. Finally, connect the dots to show how this evidence logically leads to your conclusion. For instance, if you assert that exercise is good for your health, you might highlight how it enhances heart function, builds muscle, and alleviates stress, ultimately leading to the conclusion that everyone should make regular exercise a part of their lives. Understanding logical persuasion goes beyond just crafting your own arguments. It also involves recognizing and addressing errors in reasoning found in others' points of view. These errors, known as logical fallacies, can trick people into thinking an argument is more convincing than it really is. By mastering the ability to identify fallacies, such as false dichotomies, ad hominem attacks, or appeals to ignorance, you'll be better equipped to question weak arguments while bolstering your own stance. However, logic isn't the sole ingredient for mastering the art of argumentation. it's equally important to grasp the techniques of rhetoric. This is where Aristotle's insights come into play. Specifically his three modes of persuasion: ethos, pathos, and logos. Ethos relates to the credibility of the speaker. It's about proving you're trustworthy and knowledgeable. This can be achieved by showcasing your expertise, referencing reliable sources, or demonstrating a history of dependability. Meanwhile, pathos taps into the emotional aspect of persuasion. While logical reasoning is vital, harnessing emotions can significantly enhance the impact of your arguments, making them more resonant and memorable. Lastly, logos pertains to logic itself, relying on reasoning and evidence to back up your claims, aligning closely with the logical persuasion we discussed. A true expert in argumentation expertly weaves these three elements together, establishing credibility through ethos, engaging the audience's emotions with pathos, and delivering a well-reasoned argument grounded in logos. One effective rhetorical approach that blends these aspects is the use of rhetorical questions. These inquiries aren't meant for direct answers but are designed to emphasize a point or prompt reflection. For instance, asking, "If we don't act now, what kind of world are we leaving for our children?" evokes concern, pathos, shows foresight and care, ethos, and logically highlights the urgency of the situation, logos. You might be considering how to apply these principles in real life. The secret, as with any skill, is regular practice and reflection. A great way to sharpen your argumentation abilities is by participating in debates. This doesn't mean looking for conflicts. Rather, seek opportunities for civil discussions on topics that matter to you. As you engage in these debates, concentrate on building logical arguments, carefully structuring your reasoning, and honing your ability to spot and avoid logical fallacies. While exploring the art of persuasion, it's crucial to pay attention to how you incorporate ethos, pathos, and logos into your arguments. These three elements can significantly bolster your persuasive efforts. A great way to enhance your skills is by studying speeches or debates delivered by masterful speakers. Notice how they craft their arguments, build their credibility, engage emotions, and seamlessly apply logic. As you practice these techniques in your own dialogues, remember to stay alert to possible traps. One common challenge in discussions is emotional escalation. In the heat of debate, it's easy to lose track of your persuasive goals and slip into unproductive arguments. If you feel tensions rising, try to steer the conversation back toward shared goals or common values. Additionally, be cautious not to fall into logical errors, known as fallacies, which can undermine your arguments. Even if you're aware of them, it's all too easy to resort to flawed reasoning when tempers flare. The trick is to stay vigilant and critically assess your own points for any weaknesses. If you notice a fallacy creeping in, admit it and adjust your argument accordingly. This openness not only showcases your integrity, but can also boost your credibility. As we wrap up this section, take a moment to consider the significant role that argumentation plays in persuasion. How can these strategies help you turn disagreements into influential opportunities? How can you effectively blend logic, emotion, and credibility to craft more convincing arguments? Remember, becoming adept at argumentation is a continuous process of learning and improvement, and what we've discussed so far is just the starting point. In the next chapter, we will explore a broader aspect of persuasion that transcends individual arguments or discussions, building networks of influence. We'll look into how to form collaborations that enhance your persuasive abilities. Chapter 7. Ripple Effect Persuasion. Are you ready to discover how to rally not just individuals, but entire groups to support your cause? Have you ever wondered why some ideas gain popularity so rapidly, while others struggle to make an impact? Or why certain people seem to effortlessly influence others, almost magnetically altering opinions around them? Welcome to the fascinating realm of social networks and alliances, where true persuasive power reaches far beyond mere one-on-one interactions. As we dive into this chapter, prepare to uncover the underlying structures of influence that govern our social connections. Let's dive into a fascinating aspect of persuasion that reaches far beyond simple conversations or speeches. We're entering a space where ideas can take flight, influence multiplies, and your persuasive actions can set off ripples of change throughout your community. So why is it so important to forge alliances for effective persuasion? The answer lies in our nature as social beings. Our thoughts, beliefs, and choices are deeply impacted by the people around us. By tapping into this social dynamic, you can significantly enhance your persuasive efforts. Picture this: when you convince a single person, you've succeeded in changing one opinion. However, by forming alliances and utilizing social networks, each individual you persuade becomes a potential champion for your ideas. Your influence begins to propagate, not just through your direct interactions, but through the connections and exchanges others have with one another. This creates a multiplier effect that can significantly broaden the scope and impact of your persuasion. But there's more to building alliances than just expanding your reach. It's also about establishing credibility and social validation. When people notice that your ideas are backed by a network of respected individuals or established groups, they become more inclined to take those ideas seriously. This kind of social endorsement can be a potent tool to conquer doubt and resistance. So how do we unlock the power of social networks and alliances? The secret lies in grasping the principles of social network theory. This field studies how social connections are formed, how influence and information flow through these connections, and how they shape the behaviors of individuals and groups. A crucial element of social network theory is the idea of social proof, where individuals look to the behavior and attitudes of others to guide their own decisions. This is why we tend to flock to busy restaurants or trust information that comes from various sources. As someone looking to persuade, you can make use of social proof by highlighting the backing your ideas have received. This might include showcasing endorsements from well-respected figures, sharing positive testimonials, or demonstrating how widely your ideas or products have been adopted. The goal is to illustrate that others, especially those whom your audience respects or relates to, have already embraced your concepts. One vital aspect of forming alliances lies in the strategic use of authority figures. People tend to yield to those they view as experts in their domains. By aligning yourself with reputable leaders or acknowledged specialists, you can enhance your own credibility and boost your power to persuade. However, leveraging authority goes beyond simply associating with well-known personalities. It's about pinpointing and engaging with individuals who wield influence in the specific circles you want to affect. This could mean connecting with community leaders, industry authorities, or even informal influencers who shape opinions in their social networks. Now let's explore the nuances of networking for persuasion. This process isn't merely about collecting business cards or expanding your social media following. It revolves around cultivating meaningful relationships that can enhance your influence and help you achieve your objectives. The initial step in strategic networking is to recognize the key players within your industry or audience. Who are the opinion shapers? Who has the attention of those in decision-making positions? Who serves as a link between various groups? By mapping these influential figures within your social sphere, you can concentrate your efforts where they will be most effective. Once you've mapped out these crucial individuals, the next step is to cultivate authentic relationships with them. This means identifying common interests, proving your value, and fostering trust over time. Keep in mind that the aim is not to exploit these individuals, but rather to build mutually beneficial partnerships. Look for ways to assist others in achieving their goals while pursuing your own. As you develop these connections, you'll start to gather social capital, the goodwill, trust, and mutual obligations that exist in social interactions. This social capital can become a powerful tool in your persuasion arsenal. It can enable you to request favors, gain access to valuable information and opportunities, and harness the influence of others to promote your goals. So, how can you effectively implement these ideas? A great starting point is to chart your current social network. Begin by listing everyone you know who has the potential to influence or be influenced by your persuasive efforts. Next, identify the links among these individuals. Who knows whom, and who holds sway over others? As you create this map, look for chances to strengthen your current connections and forge new ones. Are there key influencers whose support you can seek? Cultivating relationships should be a priority. Think about using your network to spark new collaborations. A key strategy is to identify and seek out potential partners who share similar interests. Look for people or organizations with goals that resonate with yours, even if they operate in completely different areas. By collaborating on common objectives, you can forge dynamic alliances that elevate your impact. While you explore these strategies, keep an eye out for potential challenges. One common pitfall is forming partnerships that seem promising but don't align with your goals. To steer clear of this, clearly define your objectives and ensure that any alliances you pursue genuinely support them. If you realize you've entered into a misaligned partnership, it's perfectly acceptable to course correct or gracefully step back. Another warning is the tendency to lean too heavily on the authority or influence of others at the expense of your own credibility. While it's beneficial to harness the strengths of others, you need to balance this with establishing your own authority and trust. Ultimately, your aim should be to grow into a respected voice on your own, rather than just a channel for someone else's influence. As we wrap up this chapter, take a moment to consider the significance of alliances in the art of persuasion. How can you utilize your current network to enhance your influence? What fresh connections could you nurture to broaden your persuasive capabilities? Remember, building alliances isn't about manipulation. It's about crafting a network of mutually advantageous relationships that drive shared goals and foster positive change. It's a reminder that our most significant achievements typically emerge from collaborative efforts rather than solo endeavors. Looking ahead, think about this. If expanding your influence through alliances is one step, what could come next in mastering persuasion? How can you ensure the changes you initiate through your persuasive efforts are not only far-reaching, but also lasting? Get ready to delve into the art of solidifying your persuasive triumphs for enduring impact. Are you prepared to transform brief victories into lasting change? Over time, we've all seen how enthusiasm can fade, or perhaps you've experienced a stellar persuasive attempt fall short eventually, even if it gained traction at first. Welcome to a critical yet often neglected phase of persuasion, the art of cementing your victories and ensuring they leave a lasting impression. As we dive into this chapter, get ready to discover how to turn fleeting successes into enduring changes. We'll be exploring a realm of persuasion that goes beyond just getting a simple yes or agreement. This is where true persuasion experts thrive, and it's often where the real challenge begins, after the apparent success has been achieved. But why is this final phase so essential for effective persuasion? The answer lies in how humans think and make choices. Persuasion isn't just about nudging someone's thoughts in the moment. It's about fostering lasting change. It's about making sure that when people decide to act based on your influence, those actions actually happen, and that the connections you've forged continue to grow. Consider how many times you've made a choice during an excited moment, only to feel uncertain about it later. Or think about how often you've seen someone agree to something wholeheartedly, only to lose interest or backtrack down the line. This is the challenge we're addressing, the need to make persuasion enduring. At the heart of this is the principle of consistency and commitment from social psychology. This principle suggests that people have a strong inclination to align their behaviors with their words, beliefs, and actions. Once a decision is made, we face both internal and external pressures to stay true to that choice. This desire for consistency can be a powerful asset for a skilled persuader. By understanding how to utilize this psychological principle effectively, you can greatly enhance the chances that others will stick to their commitments and maintain new beliefs or behaviors. So how do we tap into the power of consistency and commitment? First, it's crucial to grasp the psychology behind commitment. When individuals make a commitment, particularly one that's active, public, and voluntary, they're far more likely to follow through. The reason is that not doing so would lead to cognitive dissonance, an uncomfortable feeling of mental conflict. When our actions don't match how we see ourselves or the promises we make, it creates a bit of tension. As a persuader, you can turn this to your advantage by encouraging others to make public commitments to the ideas or actions you're promoting. This could mean having them write down their commitment, share it with others, or take a small but meaningful step toward a bigger goal. Another effective strategy is the foot in the door technique. Start with a modest request that's easy to accept, then steadily increase the ask over time. Each little yes builds momentum, making it more likely that the person will agree to larger requests down the line as they aim to stay true to their prior commitments. But getting that initial yes is just the first step. To truly make a lasting impact, you need to build on those early successes and keep the connection alive. That's where the idea of reciprocal altruism comes into play. This theory suggests that people are more inclined to continue supporting you or your ideas if they see the relationship as mutually beneficial. So, look for ways to provide ongoing value to those you've persuaded. This might include sharing extra resources, offering support, or helping them reach their own goals. By doing this, you reinforce their initial decision while nurturing a relationship based on trust and mutual benefit, essential for maintaining your influence over time. Don't underestimate the power of follow-up in this process. Many persuasive efforts fall flat, not because the initial argument was weak, but due to lack of follow-through. Regular check-ins, reminders, and reinforcement are crucial to keep your persuasive message front and center, and to help people avoid slipping back into old ways of thinking or behaving. Now you may be wondering how to implement all this. A practical exercise is to create a follow-up plan based on a recent persuasive effort. Think of a situation where you successfully convinced someone to see your perspective or take a specific action. Then design a strategy to reinforce that decision in the coming weeks or months. What reminders can you send? What extra value can you provide? How can you help them feel good about their choice and keep them motivated? To stay committed, it's beneficial to actively seek out opportunities to reinforce commitments in your everyday conversations. Whenever someone makes an agreement, don't stop there. Look for ways to strengthen that commitment. This could mean encouraging them to express their promise in their own words, discussing the next steps in detail, or scheduling a time to touch base on their progress. As you try these strategies, it's essential to be mindful of some common pitfalls. One issue you might encounter is commitment erosion, which is when a person's determination gradually fades over time. To counter this, offer regular reminders and incentives, celebrate the little wins, and help them recognize the strides they are making toward their larger objectives. Another concern is the potential strain on relationships. In your eagerness to uphold commitments, you may accidentally come off as pushy or domineering. To prevent this, keep communication lines open and prioritize mutual benefit. Stay tuned into any changes in circumstances or needs, and be flexible enough to adapt your approach when needed. As we wrap up this chapter, take a moment to think about how consistency and commitment play crucial roles in persuasion. How might you leverage these concepts to bolster your persuasive efforts and create a lasting impact? Consider how you can cultivate relationships based on mutual goodwill that will support your influence over the long haul. Remember, celebrating victories is not just about rejoicing in what you've achieved. It's also about laying the necessary groundwork for ongoing influence. By mastering the techniques of reinforcing decisions and nurturing long-term relationships, you can turn transient moments of persuasion into meaningful changes that extend well beyond the initial encounter. As we prepare to move into the final chapter, reflect on this thought. If mastering persuasion is akin to a journey, what awaits you at the end of that road? How can you take everything you've absorbed and weave it into a cohesive strategy for sustained influence? Get ready to uncover the ultimate secrets of persuasive mastery, insights that will elevate you from a proficient practitioner to a true expert in the art of influence. Are you prepared to unlock the final piece of the persuasion puzzle? Chapter 9, the endgame. As we arrive at the last chapter of our journey through the art and science of persuasion, it's time to take a step back and appreciate the broader perspective. You've made significant progress since we first set out to explore the intricacies of influence and the complexity of human psychology. Mastering the art of communication and understanding social dynamics is only part of the journey. The true measure of your skills lies not just in what you learn, but in how you put that knowledge into practice and refine it over time. Welcome to the endgame strategy, a synthesis of what you've absorbed so far, and a launch pad into your future as a master persuader. This isn't merely a summary of past lessons, it's about weaving these insights into a flexible approach that will benefit you long term. Consider your starting point when you first cracked open this book. You might have felt a lack of confidence in your ability to sway others, or an exasperation with your struggles in conveying your ideas clearly. Now, envision yourself equipped with the insights and skills you've gathered. How empowering is it to realize you can tackle even the trickiest discussions with confidence and skill? This journey is more than just gathering techniques or memorizing methods. It's a fundamental shift in how you view your interactions and relationships. You've gained a fresh perspective, one that helps you see the subtle influences that affect our social environments. However, it's important to remember that with this power comes great responsibility. The tools you've developed can either manipulate and exploit or uplift and inspire change. The decision on how to use these skills rests with you, and it's a conscious choice you'll confront each time you engage with others. So, in what ways can the knowledge from this book truly empower you? To start, you've significantly enhanced your ability to influence those around you and realize your ambitions, whether personally or professionally. You now have a strategic approach that allows you to understand persuasion's key elements. Imagine stepping into a negotiation with a clear strategy for presenting your ideas to make the biggest impact. Picture yourself skillfully handling a tough conversation with a friend by using emotional awareness to connect on common ground. These scenarios aren't just dreams, they are attainable realities, thanks to the abilities you've developed. Moreover, as you move forward, you'll notice a boost in your confidence during persuasive encounters. This isn't about becoming cocky or overbearing. Rather, it's about having a calm, quiet assurance in your ability to communicate effectively and influence outcomes. This newfound confidence can be your greatest asset. People are naturally attracted to those who radiate confidence and skill, and the advantages of mastering persuasion go well beyond just hitting your immediate targets. Perhaps the most significant change you'll notice will be in your relationships. By grasping the fundamentals of influence and how to communicate effectively, you can create deeper and more meaningful connections with others. Imagine how your interactions could improve if you truly understood where others were coming from. Picture being able to express your own needs and wishes clearly and persuasively. Envision finding solutions that benefit everyone, even in tough situations where people seem opposed. This newfound ability to connect and engage meaningfully can enrich your relationships across the board. You'll find it easier to resolve disputes, bring people together, and inspire teamwork. Essentially, you're not just enhancing your persuasion skills, you're also evolving into a better friend, partner, colleague, and leader. Now let's think about what you can accomplish with these fresh skills that may have previously felt out of reach. One of the greatest powers you'll gain is navigating tricky conversations smoothly. Those moments that used to leave you speechless or upset, be it a challenging presentation at work, a delicate family chat, or a crucial negotiation, can now be handled with strategy and confidence. Moreover, you'll learn to transform conflicts into opportunities for influence. Instead of viewing disagreements as barriers, you'll see them as chances to enhance understanding, discover common ground, and guide others toward your viewpoint. This change in perspective can completely revamp your interactions, opening doors to new avenues for teamwork and growth. But here's the truly thrilling part. What you've uncovered in this book is just the starting point. As you put these ideas into practice, you'll find that achieving your goals becomes easier and less strenuous. This is the journey to true mastery, where persuasion shifts from being a skill to an instinct. With continual practice, these techniques will become second nature. You'll begin to instinctively frame your messages for maximum effect, read emotional signals effortlessly, and build rapport without thinking. What once took conscious effort will become as effortless as breathing. This enhanced ability will make reaching your desired outcomes much more efficient. A true master of persuasion is someone who achieves more while putting in less effort, allowing them to conserve mental energy for strategic thinking and tackling complex problems. As we wrap up this journey together, I want to share a final, powerful insight. For those dedicated to mastering persuasion, a profound realization emerges at the peak of influence. The best persuaders don't merely change opinions, they transform realities. At this advanced level, persuasion transcends just being a collection of techniques or tactics. It becomes a transformative force that shapes the world around you. By influencing the thoughts, feelings, and actions of others, you hold the power to create ripples that can affect entire communities, organizations, or even societies. This isn't about manipulation or exerting control. Rather, it's about possessing the foresight to identify opportunities that others overlook. The skill to articulate those ideas in ways that inspire and motivate, and the strategic mindset to turn those visions into tangible outcomes. Imagine the ability to unite people behind a cause you're passionate about, to spark change within your organization, or to lead your community toward a brighter tomorrow. These aren't just lofty dreams. They are real opportunities for those who truly master the art of persuasion. However, with this ability comes a significant responsibility. As you refine your skills and broaden your influence, always remember to wield your abilities with integrity and for the greater good. The true measure of a master persuader lies not only in their capacity to influence, but in the positive changes they foster in the world. As you finish this book and step back into your everyday life, take with you not only the techniques and strategies you've acquired, but also the vision of what can be achieved. You have the potential to be more than just an adept communicator or an effective influencer. You have the ability to be a true catalyst for meaningful change. The journey to master persuasion is continual, full of new challenges, skills to acquire, and heights to ascend. But equipped with the solid foundation you've gained and a commitment to lifelong learning and ethical practice, there are no limits to what you can accomplish. So go ahead, persuade, not just to fulfill your own desires, but to help create the kind of world you envision. Winning arguments or swaying decisions isn't the end game. It's about creating a meaningful, lasting difference in your world. The ability to influence is yours to harness. As you dive into mastering the art of persuasion, keep in mind that the strongest forms of influence often come from what you don't say. The most effective persuaders recognize that sometimes saying less can achieve more. They skillfully navigate the fine line between speaking and listening and know how to assert themselves while also observing. This nuanced approach to communication can take your persuasive tactics to new levels, enabling you to make a significant impact with less effort. Curious? There's a rich landscape of subtle influence waiting for you to uncover. To truly unlock your full potential, it's essential to learn how to become unstoppable in everything you do. For an in-depth guide on how to bend reality to your will, check out our audiobook, This Book Will Make You Unstoppable, by tapping at the center of the video now to further your journey of transformation.